Welcome to this book summary of The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley and William Danko. In this video, we will be taking a deep dive into each chapter of the book and uncovering the secrets of how to become a millionaire. If you're interested in learning about the habits and lifestyles of the wealthy, then this book is for you. And if you want to buy the book, you can find the link in the description below. Chapter 1, Meet the Millionaire Next Door. The chapter begins with a story about a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Stanley, who live in a modest house in a middle-class neighborhood. Despite their unassuming lifestyle, they have a net worth of over $1 million. The authors use this example to illustrate the idea that millionaires are not always what we expect them to be. The authors then go on to explain that most millionaires have achieved their wealth through a combination of factors, including living below their means, investing wisely, and owning their own businesses. They emphasize the importance of hard work and discipline, and point out that many millionaires have had to make sacrifices in order to achieve their financial goals. The authors also challenge the stereotype that millionaires are flashy and extravagant, pointing out that many of them live in modest homes, drive used cars, and avoid luxury items. They argue that this frugal lifestyle is one of the keys to their financial success, as it allows them to save and invest more of their money. Throughout the chapter, the authors provide data and statistics to support their claims, including surveys of millionaires and their spending habits. They also provide practical advice for readers who want to follow in the footsteps of the millionaire next door, such as living below their means, investing in stocks and real estate, and starting their own businesses. Overall, this chapter sets the tone for the rest of the book, introducing readers to the concept of the millionaire next door and providing insights into how they have achieved financial success. It challenges many of the common stereotypes about millionaires and provides practical advice for readers who want to follow in their footsteps. Chapter 2, Frugal, Frugal, Frugal. The chapter begins by emphasizing the importance of frugality in the lives of millionaires. The authors explain that frugality is not about being cheap or stingy, but rather about being smart with money and making deliberate spending decisions. They argue that frugality is one of the key habits that sets millionaires apart from the rest of the population. The authors provide numerous examples of how millionaires practice frugality in their daily lives. For example, they are more likely to buy used cars instead of new ones, and they tend to keep their cars for longer periods of time. They also tend to live in modest homes that are below their means, rather than buying larger homes that they can barely afford. The authors also point out that millionaires are more likely to avoid expensive status symbols, such as designer clothing, luxury cars, and expensive vacations. Instead, they focus on the things that are truly important to them, such as family, health, and experiences. The chapter goes on to discuss the importance of budgeting and planning in the lives of millionaires. The authors show how millionaires are more likely to track their expenses and create a budget, which allows them to make informed spending decisions and avoid impulse purchases. They also emphasize the importance of planning for the future, whether it's saving for retirement or investing in real estate. Overall, this chapter provides a detailed look at the frugal lifestyle of millionaires. It shows how frugality is not about deprivation, but rather about making deliberate choices that allow for financial stability and success. The authors provide practical advice for readers who want to adopt these habits in their own lives, such as creating a budget and focusing on the things that truly matter. Chapter 3, Time, Energy, and Money. The chapter begins by explaining how millionaires view time, energy, and money as interconnected resources that need to be managed strategically. The authors argue that millionaires understand the value of these resources and prioritize their use accordingly. The authors provide several examples of how millionaires prioritize their time and energy. For instance, they are more likely to spend their time on activities that generate income or improve their skills, such as reading books, attending seminars, or networking with others in their field. They are also more likely to delegate tasks that are not their strengths, allowing them to focus on their areas of expertise. The chapter also discusses how millionaires view money as a resource that needs to be invested wisely. The authors point out that millionaires are more likely to invest in their own businesses or careers, rather than relying on others for their financial success. They also emphasize the importance of diversification and risk management in investing. The authors provide practical advice for readers who want to adopt these habits in their own lives. They suggest creating a schedule that prioritizes time for income-generating activities and investing in oneself through education and skill building. They also recommend taking calculated risks in investing and seeking out multiple streams of income. Overall, this chapter highlights the importance of managing time, energy, and money wisely in achieving financial success. It shows how millionaires prioritize these resources and provides practical advice for readers who want to adopt similar habits in their own lives. Chapter 4: You Aren't What You Drive. The chapter begins by challenging the common belief that the car someone drives is an indicator of their wealth or success. The authors argue that millionaires understand the true value of a car, which is to provide transportation, not to make a statement about their financial status. The authors provide several examples of how millionaires view cars as a means of transportation. For instance, they are more likely to buy used cars instead of new ones, and they tend to keep their cars for much longer periods of time. They are also more likely to prioritize practicality over luxury when it comes to their car purchases. The authors also discuss the financial benefits of avoiding expensive cars. By choosing to drive a used car or a more practical vehicle, millionaires are able to save more money and invest it wisely. They argue that this is one of the key habits that sets millionaires apart from the rest of the population. The chapter goes on to provide practical advice for readers who want to adopt similar habits in their own lives. The authors suggest buying a used car instead of a new one, and avoiding the temptation to upgrade to a more expensive car just for the sake of appearances. They also recommend focusing on practicality and reliability when choosing a car, rather than luxury or status. Overall, this chapter highlights the importance of viewing cars as a means of transportation, rather than a status symbol. It shows how millionaires prioritize practicality and financial responsibility when it comes to their car purchases, and provides practical advice for readers who want to adopt similar habits in their own lives. Chapter 5: Economic Outpatient Care. The chapter begins by introducing the concept of economic outpatient care, which refers to the financial support that parents provide to their adult children. The authors argue that while this support may seem helpful in the short term, it can actually have negative long-term effects on the children's financial success. The authors provide several examples of how economic outpatient care can be detrimental to adult children. For instance, it can create a sense of entitlement and dependency, and can prevent children from learning how to manage money responsibly. It can also lead to strained relationships between parents and children, as well as between siblings. The authors then discuss how millionaires approach financial support for their children differently. Rather than providing their children with financial support, they focus on providing them with financial education and teaching them how to manage money wisely. This approach allows children to develop the skills and knowledge they need to achieve financial success on their own. The chapter goes on to provide practical advice for readers who want to adopt a similar approach with their own children. The authors suggest teaching children about money from a young age, involving them in financial decision-making, and encouraging them to take responsibility for their own finances. Overall, this chapter emphasizes the importance of financial education and responsibility in achieving long-term financial success. It shows how millionaires prioritize these values when it comes to their children, and provides practical advice for readers who want to do the same. Chapter 6: Affirmative Action, Family Style. The chapter begins by discussing the importance of family relationships in the lives of millionaires. The authors argue that millionaires value their family relationships and use them to their advantage in achieving financial success. They provide several examples of how millionaires work together with their families to achieve their goals. The authors also discuss how millionaires are more likely to marry someone who shares their values and financial goals. They argue that by choosing a partner who is financially responsible and shares their values, millionaires are able to work together towards a common financial goal. The chapter goes on to provide practical advice for readers who want to adopt similar habits in their own lives. The authors suggest involving family members in financial decision-making, and using family connections to network and find new business opportunities. They also emphasize the importance of choosing a partner who shares your financial goals and values. Overall, this chapter highlights the importance of family relationships in achieving financial success. It shows how millionaires prioritize their family relationships and use them to their advantage, and provides practical advice for readers who want to adopt similar habits in their own lives. Chapter 7: Findings, Implications, and Conclusions. The chapter begins by summarizing the key findings of the book, including the frugal lifestyle of millionaires, their focus on managing time, energy, and money wisely, and their emphasis on family relationships and financial education. The authors then discuss the implications of their research, showing how anyone can become a millionaire by adopting these same habits and behaviors. They argue that financial success is not determined by luck or inheritance, but rather by hard work, discipline, and smart financial decisions. The authors also emphasize the importance of financial education, both for individuals and for society as a whole. They argue that by teaching people how to manage their money wisely, we can help reduce financial inequality and promote greater economic stability. Thanks for watching this book summary of The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley and William Danko. If you're interested in learning more about how to become a millionaire, then be sure to check out the book for yourself. You can find the link in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more book summaries and reviews.